Have you ever made a decision when you were absolutely furious only to regret it 10 minutes later? We have all been there. Science actually tells us that when we are angry, the logical part of our brain basically shuts down. It's like driving a car with a brick on the gas pedal and no hands on the steering wheel. There's an old saying that goes, anyone can get angry, that is easy. But to be angry with the right person, to the right degree, and at the right time, that is incredibly hard. Today, I'm going to tell you a story about a man who had absolute power over a kingdom, but zero power over himself. And the lesson he learned over a bowl of soup might just save your relationships and change your life. Once upon a time, in a land far away, there lived a king who was known for his strength and his sharp mind. He had wealth, he had a massive army, and he had the respect of neighboring nations. But despite having everything a man could dream of, he had one massive weakness. He had a temper that was like a volcano waiting to erupt. It didn't take much to set him off. If a servant was 2 minutes late, if his tea was slightly too cold, or if someone disagreed with him, he would lose it. He made decisions based purely on how he felt in that split second. Because of this, he handed out harsh punishments for tiny mistakes. His subjects feared him, not because he was just, but because he was unpredictable. One day, an old man arrived at the palace gates. This wasn't just any visitor. This was the king's childhood teacher, the man who had taught him how to read, write, and think when he was just a boy. The king had a soft spot for his old mentor, so he welcomed him with open arms and invited him to a private dinner that very evening. The dinner started well. The atmosphere was warm, the candles were flickering, and they were laughing, sharing stories about the old days. The king felt relaxed, but life has a funny way of testing us when we least expect it. Just as the main course was served, a rich golden soup, a tiny housefly buzzed around the room. And as luck would have it, that fly landed right in the center of the king's bowl. Now, for most people, this is a small annoyance. You might spoon it out or ask for a new bowl, but for the king, this was an insult. His face turned red, the veins in his neck stood out. He slammed his fist on the table, making the silverware rattle. He screamed at the trembling servant standing nearby. "How dare you? A fly in my soup? Is this how you treat your king? You are careless and useless." The servant, shaking with fear, tried to speak. "Your Majesty, the soup was clear when I brought it. The fly, it must have fallen in just now." But the king wasn't listening. He was blinded by rage. He was ready to order a severe punishment for the servant right there and then. The old teacher sat calmly, watching this entire meltdown. He didn't look scared. He just cleared his throat and spoke softly. "Your Majesty," he said, "pause for a moment. Look at the bowl. The servant didn't carry the fly in. It fell from the air while we were talking." The king turned to his teacher, still fuming. "You don't understand. It's not just the fly, it's the principle. Even small things like this ruin my mood. It ruins everything." The teacher smiled, a sad, knowing smile. He looked the king in the eye and dropped a truth bomb that silenced the room. He said, "My king, the fly did not ruin your peace. The fly is just a bug. It has no power over you. The fly didn't destroy your dinner. Your reaction did." He continued, "A man who cannot rule his own emotions can never truly rule a kingdom. If a tiny insect has the power to make you lose control, then you are not the master of this castle. Your surroundings are the master of you." The king sat back in his chair. The anger slowly drained out of him, replaced by shame. He realized his teacher was right. He had let a bug dictate his happiness. He looked at his mentor and admitted in a quiet voice, "I know you're right, but I try. I really do. I just can't help it. The anger comes so fast I can't stop it." The teacher nodded. "That is because you have never practiced patience. You assume patience is something you have or you don't, but it is a skill, like swordsmanship. If you don't train your mind, your emotions will always win. You need to learn the power of not reacting." This is a concept that many wise people talk about. In fact, if you look online, you will find many guides on this, often titled things like "How to Control Your Emotions Effectively." The idea is simple. Between the event, the fly, and your action, the screaming, there is a tiny gap, a space. Your freedom lives in that space. For the next few weeks, the king made a promise to himself. He wouldn't try to be perfect, he would just try to pause. He realized that when his mind was calm, his decisions were smart. When his mind was chaotic, his decisions were foolish. Now, the story doesn't end with the king. It continues with you and me. We might not have a kingdom, but we have our own lives to rule. And just like the king, we have flies in our soup every single day. Maybe your fly is being stuck in traffic when you're late. Maybe it's a rude comment on social media. Maybe it's your boss sending an email at 5 p.m. on a Friday. The teacher explained to the king that we all have triggers. These are specific things that set us off. For some, it's disrespect. For others, it's feeling ignored. The first step to strength is knowing what your triggers are. When you feel that heat rising in your chest, that is your signal. It's not a signal to act, it's a signal to stop. The teacher taught the king a simple method: observation. When you are angry, don't be the anger, just look at it. Say to yourself, "Oh, I'm feeling angry right now." It sounds silly, but it works. By acknowledging the feeling, you separate yourself from it. You realize that emotions are temporary. They are like weather. Storms come and storms go. But if you burn down your house every time it rains, you'll have nowhere to live when the sun comes out. Over time, the king became known not for his temper, but for his wisdom. He didn't stop feeling angry, he was human after all, but he stopped acting on it immediately. He learned the true strength isn't about shouting the loudest, it's about staying calm when everyone else is shouting. So the next time life throws a fly in your soup, remember this story. Don't let a temporary emotion cause a permanent problem. Take a breath, take a step back, and choose to be the master of your own mind. If this story helped you look at your own reactions a little differently, I would really appreciate it if you could hit that like button. It helps share this message with others who might need it. And if you want to hear more stories about growing stronger and wiser, please subscribe and join our community. We have a lot more to share.